everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our conversation with the Pigtails Crewcuts team. Today, we're going to be talking about something that all of us are facing, which is adapting to life with COVID-19. As a children's hair salon, Pigtails Crewcuts has faced the pandemic from a kind of unique perspective, being a company made up of business owners who are largely parents themselves and wanting to make sure that their clients, employees, and their own families are staying safe. We're going to talk about the initial response in communicating with the salon owners, the steps taken to increase salon safety and sanitation, and additional operational changes, as well as how the company has adjusted communications with customers. So before we go into further detail, let's meet everyone on the panel today. So Michelle, if you don't mind getting us started.
Thanks, Daniel. Hi, everybody. My name is Michelle Holliman. I am the Vice President of Pigtails Crewcuts. Vice President of Franchise Development. I have been with Pigtails Crewcuts since 2005, and my job is to evaluate prospective franchisees and help them determine that this is the right investment for them. I also help the new franchisees during the business development process prior to transitioning and transferring over to the operations side.
Great. And Theresa?
Hello, I am Theresa Vona. I have been with Pigtails Crewcuts a little over 8 years now. My role with the company is I am Vice President of Franchise Support. And franchise support encompasses operations, which include finances, daily operations, employee management, as well as training for the company, our marketing with our marketing firm, vendors, and really anything that could or would benefit a franchisee.
Great. And Charmaine, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, my name is Charmaine. I am the salon manager at the Buckhead location, which is the only location that's owned by the corporation. I've been with Pigtails Crewcuts 15 years, and my role is to manage the day-to-day operations and to also support our corporate office with training of new franchisees.
Great. And last but not least, Ben.
Hi, my name is Ben Rigel. I'm a franchise support specialist here at Pigtails Crewcuts. I've been here since January of 2016. I have a background in general management and business support, where I reviewed financial documents, helped develop operational procedures, and build marketing plans. And that is what I currently do with my franchise owners now. Great.
Thanks, everyone. And I'm Daniel O'Donnell. I oversee the content marketing team at Fishman PR, a company that works with Pigtails Crewcuts to work to develop content primarily for the franchise website and then also for social media. So without further ado, we can get going in the conversation. So Michelle, can you tell us a little bit more about Pigtails Crewcuts and the brand itself?
Pigtails Crewcuts is a national children's hair salon franchise. We have about 66 locations in 22 states and probably another 40 locations, whether they've committed or they're in different development stages. When you walk into a Pigtails Crewcuts, it's brightly colored walls, theme car chairs on one side with appropriate movie playing at each styling station. On the other side, we have regular barber chairs that want to have a Xbox or PlayStations for the older kids. Our mission is to create a fun and memorable haircutting experience for the child and also the parents alike. And so Pigtails Crewcuts, we're in the hair industry, which is a $60 billion industry, with the children's segment of being about $7 billion. So this type of recession-resistant industry system, there's a lot of room to grow.
Great. Thanks, Michelle. And I know it feels like a million years ago, but it's important to remember how fluid the situation has been with COVID-19 and when it first hit and up till today and the circumstances we're facing. But Theresa, can you explain a little bit about what were your top priorities and kind of the first steps you took when the pandemic first arrived?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you remember, I'm going to go back to March to talk about the first steps with COVID, because March is when everything started to change for us. We started, hearing a lot about the coronavirus. We started hearing that we could have communities going into, lockdown. What did that mean for our business owners? And we really had to start. We were communicating before, of course, emails, conversations, but we really had to heighten our verbal conversations because communities were all experiencing different things. And we needed to know what was happening in our communities, what could we do to help, and like everyone else, it was day to day, almost minute by minute, we were getting information. So, in March, we started hearing things. Some of our salons started closing. And then by April, we had 100% of our salons closed, like most, businesses. And that was hard for our franchisees, not only financially, but emotionally. People have spent, a lot of time, working on their business, loving it. So as we were talking to everyone, we started realizing, okay, we need to help everyone with talking, giving people guidance. How do you properly close down your salon? Are you considering, don't leave your sign-in tablet laying on the front desk, don't leave cash in your salon. What are you doing with your clippers? What are you telling your employees? Are you furloughing them? Are you laying them off? Are you terminating them? We had, people thinking and asking those questions. What do we do? So we started communicating, sent out some best practices of how to properly close down your salon, think about all of these things while you're closing. And then the pivot was very quick because we were open, then we were closed. Closing procedures went out, and then we started talking, okay, our owners don't want to be closed. I mean, we heard that, of course, we want to be open and we want to be open quickly. So then we went to, how do you reopen? We weren't open yet, and we had to start brainstorming, what do they need? How are they talking to employees? How are employees, do they want to come off unemployment? Because that was a challenge, for many, many businesses. And we started discovering that there were some equipment or supplies that were difficult to find. So as our, Ben, you just met him, he's a franchise support specialist. So he has a group of franchisees. So they were talking regularly, and we would hear, okay, people are finding masks. Okay, they're finding extra aprons. Okay, what aren't they able to find? And we found out that hand sanitizer was a challenge. For some reason, in the beginning of April, that's what we couldn't find. It's different today, but then that's what we couldn't find. So we outsourced, made several phone calls to find a company who could produce gallon, hand sanitizer for us. And Michelle and I jumped in her truck and picked it all up and on a pallet and then shipped it out so that we knew before our franchisees opened, they had it. So as we were talking, then opening procedures came out. And we, were listening, trying to help. We did some Zoom phone calls so that, because our franchisees were talking regularly to their franchise support specialist. I mean, that's where their relationship and day-to-day relationship lives. But Michelle Wade and I had built relationships with people, and we wanted to talk to them. So we did regional Zoom calls to just say, how are you? Wade was asking everyone about their landlord because he had sent out best practices. Here's how you talk to your landlord. Here's the sample letter if you want to ask for rent relief, rent deferment. This could help you. So we were following up on a lot of the material we had sent out. We also were following up on the PPP program, the payroll protection program. There were a lot of SBA loans going out. Now, again, our franchise support specialists were sharing information because that was changing, regularly. And we wanted to see who received the funding, who could we help, maybe share links. Franchisees were even sharing links with each other in communities. If they had a great banker and they knew that their bank was going to accept a couple more locations, they were sharing that, with their peers. And we were fortunate as a brand. Most of our franchisees were able to get the first round of the PPP funding. We're hoping there's a second, and we're still to this day sending out links, hoping the HEALS Act gets passed and trying to make sure our franchisees, if the second round gets passed, we are here for them and ready to send links, give them information so that they don't miss out on anything. So the first steps were hard. We'd like to see everybody open. We've had a few situations where we've had salons open and close. California is an example. You know, we got them open and we all were high-fiving. I think for 3 days we had all of our salons open and we were high-fiving around the office, yay. And then day 3, it's like California's closing, you know. And then today we found out, you know, we have our location in Honolulu in Hawaii. They're going to have a mandate where they have stay-at-home orders for 2 weeks. So just as of soon, you know, as of today, Ben was sharing with him, okay, do we need to go back to your landlord? Here are some of the things we sent out back in April. What do you need from us? So it's been a busy time, but you know, we just want to be here for everyone and answer questions, and you know, and it can be a challenge because the states are different and some of the requirements and things that are happening in the world are, you know, regional, but that's where we are today in the first steps. Thank you for asking, Daniel.
Well, that's awesome to hear. Paints a very, very clear picture of, you know, the response, especially during such unprecedented circumstances. And Charmaine, can you talk a little bit more about the operational changes you've made in the salons to increase safety and sanitation?
Absolutely. Here at the Buckhead location, the stylists, as they come into work, we do perform a temperature check. After the temperature check is completed, all staff members must wear a mask and/or any type of protective face gear. Throughout the day, we try to maintain a 6 feet distance at all possible. We have also transformed our shampoo bowl into a hand washing station / sanitation station, which ourselves as stylists wash our hands after every customer, before every customer, and then we have our customers do the same as they walk into the salon. We've also prohibited the children from picking a treasure from the treasure box, in which after their service, we give them a prepackaged toy and lollipop for them to take with them as they leave out.
Great. I'm sure that it's helped put a lot of parents at ease, you know.
It has.
Excellent. And Ben, what additional actions did you take to support franchisees as they're, you know, dealing with the changing circumstances?
So prior to COVID-19, we're largely a walk-in only salon across the entire system. And during COVID-19, we kind of came to the realization that we need to pivot and change away from that because we do need a social distance, as Charmaine was saying. And many of the states are mandating that you can only have 10 or 20 people in the salon at once. And previously, on a busy Saturday, we could have 30 or 40 people inside the salon at one time, and that just wasn't going to work. So we've actually switched from being a largely walk-in only system to a appointment-based system in order to keep fewer people in the salon at once, keep the social distancing. And so what we've done here at the office is we've worked with our owners to implement that appointment system, and then put it on the website, put it on the Facebook, on the Instagram, just to make sure the customers can book their appointment easily. And, you know, we're talking about all the things that Charmaine mentioned about the sanitizing, wearing the masks, and we're starting to slowly see things pick up. Sales are starting to improve and get more toward the pre-pandemic numbers that we had before, because the customers are feeling more comfortable coming in, leaving their houses, and getting a haircut.
Great. And given the changes to how the salons operate, how have you adapted the communications with your customers? And Theresa, can you tackle that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we talk about marketing, you know, I'll go back to safety as our #1 priority. So like Ben mentioned, you know, communicating that and connecting with your customers is really important at this time because, you know, like I mentioned back in April, they're at home, right? They're not out in our salon, so we need to be front and center. We started doing some research with our marketing firm, and before COVID, the trends were showing our customers and the age of our customers were going away from Facebook. Well, that was swung right back during COVID because people weren't socializing, right? They weren't going out to restaurants. They weren't going out meeting friends at places with their families. So what did they do? They started posting pictures of their kids and looking at Facebook to keep up with what, their family and friends were doing. So we had to, luckily we were already on Facebook. So that's where we wanted to start a lot of our communications. So what we did is we worked with our marketing firm to build graphics on hand washing, new salon procedures, like Charmaine mentioned. At Buckhead, in many of our salons, they turned the hand washing or the shampoo sink into a hand washing sink. So when customers come in, they immediately wash their hands. So how do we communicate that? So we were making graphics for our franchisees so that they could properly communicate with their communities. So you could go to their Facebook page, their web page, Instagram, however they're communicating out in the world. And our marketing firm had graphics they could put up in there. One of them was what you need to know before you visit us, and there's bullets of, we're asking, please wear a mask, children who are capable and old enough, please wear a mask in our salon. Our staff will be doing the same. And so a lot of that kind of material we were pushing that out so that franchisees had it. We have a marketing hub, which franchisees can pull. And then we have an ad builder platform. So they could go and get the material and take that material and localize it as they needed. So we were definitely doing that because what we knew is building trust during a time like this is really important. And we wanted our brand to be known for safety, and we wanted, our customers to trust us. And then we got to talk a little bit about messaging. At first the messaging was, what are the hours? Because when we opened, with the social distancing requirements Charmaine talked about, when you do 6 feet, a lot of our, salons, Buckhead is an example, we have 6 chairs that typically are going at a time. We couldn't do that any longer. So efficiency became a challenge. So when we started communicating to customers, okay, now we can only have, initially when we opened, we could have 10 people in the salon. Well, that grew over time, but, how do we do that? How do we communicate it? So are we extending hours? Are we shrinking hours? What days are we open? Because not everybody wants to come out right now. So our marketing firm was helping, build templates so that owners could put that out. Here are the days we're open. Here are the hours, and again, the safety things. And so now that most of our salons, not all, are back open, I think all of those, that messaging is out. So now we've switched to back to school. Right now we're living in back to school, with some states have just gone back, some are getting ready to go back, and some we're still big question mark. We don't know what's happening in some of our states and some of our communities. So our marketing firm had to come up with messaging that was, whether you're virtual learning or in-person learning, still look good. If you're on Zoom like we are, make sure your hair looks great. You still want to look good for your peers and your teachers and so forth. So we've really had to make sure our messaging is speaking to what's happening out in the world. So, and it is changing, like I said, earlier, every minute, we're having conversations and owners are sending, messages to us. Our marketing firm has talked to a couple of our marketing gurus in the system to get ideas. What do you think we need to be looking at now? So we're trying to stay in front of it right now so that our franchisees have the tools they need to properly communicate to their communities.
Excellent. Yeah, it's difficult to overstate how important it is to clearly and constantly communicate, especially at a time like this. So Michelle, what are some of the key points that you want people watching this to take away from our conversation?
Well, Daniel, we've always considered our franchise system to be one big family. I mean, we support our franchisees. They have the peer-to-peer support. I mean, we're one big family, and it's more important now than ever to show our franchisees and our system that we care. that we support them. You know, I mean, we want them to succeed. Our success, their success is our success. And so, although life right now is a little different because of COVID, and there's still a lot of uncertainty, we just don't know. I mean, please, I hope it ends at some point, but it's unknown. We want to, you know, be able to communicate to the world, I mean, from our customers and our employees, that our salons are safe. We are following guidelines. We are doing things to sanitize and properly, you know, ensure and exceed the highest standards. We're following state and CDC guidelines, and we want to see the families. We miss them. We miss the kids. We want everybody to come get a haircut, like Theresa said, whether it's for virtual learning at school or you're face-to-face. And so the communication out there is, you know, we are doing what we need to do to have safety in our salons, follow the protocols, but we just come see us, you know. So if you want to, and you're interested in learning more about the safety that we're following and what we're doing in our salons, visit our website at pigtailsandcrewcuts.com, and there's a safety tab. It's a great video. It talks about what we're doing locally and what we're doing as a brand. But if anybody out there that wants to be a franchise owner, there's also a franchise tab. And again, it's pigtailsandcrewcuts.com. We'd love to hear from everybody. We can't wait to see everybody. We're excited that you know, 2020 is almost over, and hopefully this will end, but we're doing everything we can to ensure and regain everybody's confidence.
Fantastic. Great, and I really appreciate everyone, you all taking the time to discuss. It's a really important topic, and, you know, we look forward to our next conversation, whenever that may be. So yeah, thanks everyone for attending, also people watching, and we hope you have a great
Thanks,
day.
Daniel, for having us.
Thank you very much. Thanks everyone for watching.